Welcome, welcome, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into news that really reverberated with the force of an earthquake through an entire industry and, frankly, way beyond. We're talking about the sudden passing of an absolute icon, a figure whose presence was just so immense, truly larger than life.
Absolutely.
His name basically became synonymous with an entire era. This was someone who, whether you followed his incredible, in-ring stuff or just knew him from his huge presence in pop culture, he touched countless lives.
Yeah, you really couldn't escape him in his prime.
Exactly. So we want to approach this deep dive with respect, obviously, but also really meticulously explore the intricate nuances of his remarkable life. And let's be honest, his complex legacy.
And a lot to unpack.
It is.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to take this stack of recent reports, everything from the very first breaking news alerts that sent shockwaves to the, deeper reflections on his career over decades and really dig into them.
Right.
Cut through the noise. Yeah. Exactly. We're going to try and extract the most crucial nuggets of knowledge, everything from the immediate shocking circumstances of his passing to the enduring and sometimes, complicated impact of his career.
Mm-hmm.
We'll navigate the confirmed facts, try to push past the speculation and rumors, and, ultimately try to understand the rich, multifaceted tapestry of a life lived so intensely and so very publicly in the spotlight.
A life under a microscope, really.
Totally. And for you, our listener, this is a chance to get a quick, but hopefully incredibly thorough understanding of a truly pivotal moment in sports entertainment and really celebrity culture.
Yeah.
How does a figure like Hulk Hogan not only shape an entire sport, leaving this indelible mark that still influences people today, but also ripple out to influence the broader cultural landscape? Movies, TV, commercials. And what can we really learn about how information, maybe even conflicting information, breaks and evolves in our hyper-connected world, especially when it involves someone so universally recognized, someone whose every move, even private ones, can just become public domain instantly.
It's a fascinating case study in that sense, too.
It really is. So get ready, because this is going to be a deep dive into an extraordinary life.
It's amazing, isn't it, how quickly a single piece of news, when it involves someone of that magnitude, can send these profound shockwaves across like a whole global community.
Yeah.
It really shows the deep connection fans feel, almost like losing a family member, even if they never met the person.
Absolutely. And the suddenness of it all was just jarring. It was Thursday, July 24th. And for anyone connected to wrestling or even just aware of major cultural figures, the news hit like a ton of bricks. I remember seeing those first headlines and just feeling this chill, thinking about the immediate impact. It really emphasized the fragility, even for someone who seemed indestructible for so long.
Yeah, he always projected that image of strength. So the confirmed facts from our sources, they paint a clear, although obviously tragic, picture. Hulk Hogan, real name Terry Bollea, passed away at 71.
71.
Yeah. And the initial bad news, the Hiobs bot shaft, as one source put it, came from TMZ Sports. Early morning hours. And it caused what was described as a literal quake in the wrestling community.
For quake feels right, and TMZ being first tells you something about the level of fame, right?
Exactly. It indicates the high-profile nature, the immediate demand for information the second something happens.
So how did it actually unfold? According to the official reports from his home in Clearwater.
Okay, so the reports detail a very specific sequence. A paramedic team was dispatched to Hogan's residence in Clearwater, Florida.
Right.
The emergency call itself came from his estate at precisely 9:51 a.m. local time. Paramedics reported the nature of the emergency as a heart arrest.
Heart arrest. Wow. So critical right away.
Extremely critical. And the response was fast. He was treated almost immediately after the call by local fire and Clearwater rescue services. Shows you the system working,
Yeah, professionalism under pressure.
Then, subsequently, transported to a nearby hospital, a critical care facility. And it was there that Terry Bollea, known globally as Hulk Hogan, was sadly pronounced dead.
Okay.
And the Clearwater Police Department also announced pretty quickly they'd share more info at a press conference later that day, which again underlines the official nature, the significance of who was involved.
So an incredibly rapid official response to what was clearly a critical situation. It shows you, even with all the speculation that flies around public figures, when something this serious happens, the established process, emergency services, official statements, it kicks in almost immediately. They have to manage the medical side and the public information vacuum.
Exactly. And this rapid chain of events, it underscores the seriousness, but also the protocols in place. even for someone that famous. If we connect this to the bigger picture, that immediate emotional response from fans from the industry, it's profound.
Yeah.
There's this instant yearning for solid information, to understand what happened to someone who felt like a constant, almost an immutable force.
Right.
And how quickly those initial reports break and how they're framed, whether official or less formal, that really shapes the whole public narrative right from the start.
It's a huge challenge, isn't it? That speed versus verification thing.
Always. Especially now.
And speaking of that speed, especially with social media, there's this other layer to the story that's just incredibly jarring and frankly pretty uncomfortable. It's that unfiltered reality of public figures' private, vulnerable moments becoming instantly public, especially in a crisis. It feels like such a stark reminder of the digital age.
It really raises that important question, doesn't it? The one the public is grappling with more and more. What are the ethics here when these intimate, distressing moments get captured and shared so widely? How does it affect public perception versus, private grief?
Exactly.
Because in the hours right after the news broke, a TikTok video went viral.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And this clip reportedly showed scenes right from the sidewalk outside Hogan's home in Florida. It explicitly depicted emergency personnel desperately trying to save his life, performing chest compressions. Clearly a frantic, critical effort.
Oh, man.
And the clip also captured that moment he was being loaded into the ambulance, leaving his home for the last time under just awful circumstances.
I can only imagine seeing something so raw, so personal, a family's private tragedy just splashed across social media feeds, unedited, in real time. It feels like a significant boundary gets crossed there.
It does.
It's one thing to hear the news from a verified report. It's another thing entirely to visually see it unfold, even from a distance. It's almost voyeuristic.
And what's fascinating, maybe disturbing, is the sheer speed and breadth of how this kind of raw, unfiltered content circulates now. It reveals this complex intersection, right? Personal tragedy meets public curiosity in the social media age. On one hand, there's this undeniable human impulse to witness, to understand events, especially involving figures we feel connected to.
Sure.
And social media platforms are designed for that immediate sharing. They amplify it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it forces us to confront the ethics, sharing without consent, without considering privacy.
Right. It strips everything away at the most vulnerable moment.
Exactly. It provides maybe a shocking sense of immediacy, a reality check, but it can cause immense lasting distress to the family. And it blurs the lines between reporting and just looking.
Yeah.
Creates this stark contrast between that rapid, unfiltered public sharing and the more measured, fact-checked reporting from traditional news. It's this constant tension, the push and pull between wanting instant info and respecting human dignity. It's a defining thing about our modern information landscape.
That tension is so palpable. And it brings us right to the next crucial context. Hogan's health leading up to this. Because before this tragic news broke, there was already intense public scrutiny. A lot of speculation about his condition, fueled by the very social media landscape we were just talking about.
Yes, absolutely. The public narrative around his health was already very active. Just 2 weeks before he passed, around July 11th, there were these widespread rumors suggesting the Hulkster was, dying or was in a coma.
Right, I remember seeing those headlines. They were everywhere.
They really were, not just whispers. They were circulating widely on social media, fan forums, gaining real traction. And there were even unfounded reports of oxygen deprivation or brain damage, painting this picture of severe, maybe irreversible decline.
Which turned out not to be the case at that time.
Exactly. It was based on, nothing factual, but it created this very anxious atmosphere around his well-being.
So the public was already worried, maybe even misinformed. The rumors painted a much worse picture than reality, at least at that point. How did his wife, Skye, react to all that misinformation?
Well, she tackled it head on. She went directly to social media, made a public statement to unequivocally deny those rampant rumors.
Good for her.
Yeah, it was very clear, direct, firm, aimed right at quashing the sensationalism. She wrote, and I'm quoting here, "He is definitely not in a coma. His heart is strong, and there was never an oxygen deficiency or brain damage. None of these rumors are true."
Wow. That's about as direct as you can get.
Pretty powerful rebuttal. She was trying to provide factual clarity, dispel the fear, the false narratives taking hold, which is, a brave thing to do when you're in the middle of that kind of storm.
Absolutely. It must have been incredibly frustrating for her, seeing those extreme rumors while dealing with a real health challenge. So what was his actual condition then, according to her? If he wasn't dying or in a coma, but clearly was facing something serious.
She clarified he was recovering from a very specific and frankly severe medical procedure, the 4-stage anterior cervical discectomy and fusion, an ACDF.
Okay, 4-stage ACDF. That sounds intense.
It is. She emphasized her description of it as an intense operation with a long and complex healing process. And just for context, an ACDF is major spinal surgery. It relieves pressure on the spinal cord or nerve roots, very common for wrestlers, given the decades of high-impact bumps and falls.
Right, the physical toll is immense in that business.
Huge. Many wrestlers, even younger guys, have multiple fusions, replacements. It's almost par for the course. The fact his was a 4-stage fusion really highlights how severe and complex his specific condition was.
So a long and difficult recovery would be expected.
Exactly. The recovery for something like that is lengthy, challenging, often involves significant rehab, affects mobility, energy levels long-term. It's a serious undertaking.
Wow. So the reality was serious, complex, demanding a tough recovery, but completely different from the sensational rumors of comas or brain damage.
Totally different.
That contrast between the public speculation fueled by unchecked social media and the actual tough health journey someone famous is enduring. It's really striking. What does that tell us about the burden of fame, and the responsibility of how information gets spread?
Well, it highlights a huge burden of fame, doesn't it? That constant invasion of privacy, the public's perceived right to know everything, even if it's wrong or just pure speculation.
Yeah.
Public figures often lose that basic right to manage their own health narrative. Speculation runs wild, evolves into these full-blown false stories. This whole episode really underscores the responsibility of information dissemination. For the media, yes, but also for the public. In an age where anyone can publish anything on social media, being able to tell truth from rumor is crucial for anyone consuming information. And think about the emotional toll on the person and their family. They're navigating a serious health crisis and fighting off a flood of misinformation and sensationalism.
Must be exhausting.
Absolutely. It reminds us that while the public might crave every detail, there's a human being behind the headlines, someone deserving privacy and accurate reporting, especially when they're vulnerable. It's a real lesson in media literacy and maybe just empathy.
Definitely. Shifting gears now, away from the immediate news and the health stuff, I really want to talk about the man himself, his monumental career. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
What made Hulk Hogan such a legend? His name is professional wrestling for so many people, even non-fans. How did he reach that almost mythical status?
No, he absolutely is synonymous with it, and for very good reason.
Right.
Hogan is, without doubt, one of the most legendary figures in wrestling history.
Yeah.
His impact was just transformational, a total paradigm shift for the industry.
Right.
The rise of Hulkamania in the 1980s literally ushered in a new golden age for pro wrestling. And this wasn't just inside the ring stuff. It was a cultural phenomenon that just exploded into the mainstream.
Yeah, I remember it vividly. Red and yellow everywhere.
Exactly. Hogan became the undeniable face of the WWF, which later became WWE. He catapulted it from being relatively niche regional entertainment into a global spectacle. His charisma was just off the charts. His catchphrases, "What you gotta do, brother? Say your prayers, take your vitamins." They became household sayings. His whole patriotic, larger-than-life persona, always in the red and yellow, and that signature Hulk-up sequence.
Oh, yeah, the Hulk.
It resonated with millions, especially kids. And the Hulk-up itself was just a masterclass in crowd psychology, wasn't it?
Totally. You knew it was coming, but you loved it.
Exactly. Takes a beating, starts shaking, ignores the moves, the finger wag hits the big moves, the leg drop gets the win. Predictable? Maybe. But it worked every single time. Built incredible anticipation, this huge collective emotional release for the audience. Hulkamania embodied that era of clear good versus evil, bright colors, good, always triumphing. It drew unprecedented mainstream attention, made wrestling a pop culture staple.
And his championship record backs up that dominance, right? He wasn't just popular, he was consistently the guy for long stretches, even across different companies.
Precisely. His championship record is undeniable. It's a testament to his longevity, his incredible drawing power. He held the WWE Championship 6 times.
6 times.
Yeah, and that first reign lasted an astounding 1,474 days.
Wow, over 4 years.
Over 4 years. Almost unheard of in modern wrestling. That cemented him as the undisputed top star through the 80s, early 90s. But his dominance wasn't just WWE.
Right, he made that huge jump to WCW.
Yeah, famously jumped to World Championship Wrestling, WCW, in '94. That move sent shockwaves through the industry, helped ignite the Monday Night Wars, and there he also became a 6-time WCW World Champion, proving he could draw crowds, maintain his top status, in a completely different environment.
So those title reigns weren't just about winning belts.
No, not at all. They signify his longevity, his drawing power, sure, but also that unparalleled in-ring presence, that innate ability to connect with an audience emotionally, making every match feel huge, every win feel like a triumph for the fans, whichever version of Hogan they were cheering for.
That's incredible. He defined an era as the ultimate good guy. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. How did he manage to keep reshaping the industry after Hulkamania? After seemingly peaking, he pulled off this reinvention that so few people, let alone wrestlers, ever manage. Completely flipped his persona.
This is really where Hogan's career shows his extraordinary adaptability, his understanding of the evolving entertainment world, and frankly, probably some shrewd business sense too. In 1996, he was instrumental in forming the New World Order. The NWO?
The NWO, legendary.
Groundbreaking stuff, a radical departure, a shocking heel turn from that hero persona everyone knew. He teamed up with 2 other former WWE stars, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, who'd already established themselves as these rebellious outsiders in WCW.
Right, the outsider.
Yeah, Hogan joined them in what felt like this hostile takeover of WCW. He dropped the red and yellow, put on the black and white, became Hollywood Hogan. Ruthless, arrogant villain, total opposite.
And that didn't just change him, it changed the whole industry, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The NWO helped reshape the entire industry. It ushered in a more edgy, unpredictable, often morally ambiguous era. What became known as the Attitude Era in WWE had its roots, or at least its parallel, in what the NWO was doing in WCW.
Right.
They broke that traditional good guy, bad guy mold, injected this dose of gritty realism, rebellion, they used work-shoot elements, blurring the lines between reality and storyline, made fans question what was real.
Kept you guessing.
Totally. It fundamentally changed wrestling presentation. Moved away from the family-friendly Hulkamania model to something grittier, more adult-oriented, appealed to an older, maybe more cynical audience. That move was so impactful, it's often cited as the major turning point. Directly led to those fierce Monday Night Wars between WWE and WCW, pushing both companies to innovate like crazy.
And the WWE itself recognizes his legendary status, not just once, but twice, for these 2 completely different phases. That's pretty rare, isn't it?
Extremely rare. Speaks volumes about his influence and versatility. He was first inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame as a solo act in 2005. Totally deserved, recognizing his impact as the face of Hulkamania, the engine of the 80s boom. Then in 2020, he got inducted again, this time as a member of the NWO, alongside Nash and Hall. That dual induction really underscores the magnitude, the versatility of his impact.
Yeah, it really does.
If you connect it to the bigger picture, Hogan's ability to reinvent himself from that ultimate American hero of Hulkamania to the rebellious, villainous leader of the NWO, it just cements his status as this truly adaptable, profoundly impactful figure in sports entertainment history.
It shows that legends aren't just about consistency, right?
Exactly.
Right.
It's also about willingness and ability to evolve, sometimes dramatically, controversially, to stay relevant, even redefine the whole landscape. That solidifies your place in history.
His influence wasn't just in the ring, though. He really broke through, became a genuine pop culture figure in a way few wrestlers ever have, before or since. You didn't have to be a wrestling fan to know who Hulk Hogan was. How did he manage that crossover appeal?
His crossover appeal was just immense. It went way beyond the wrestling arena into mainstream entertainment globally. One of his most notable early moves, the one that really launched him into broader public consciousness, was his role in Rocky III.
Thunderlips. Yes.
Thunderlips, exactly. Playing this towering, flamboyant pro wrestler who fights Stallone's Rocky in that charity match, that appearance was huge for his image. It exposed him to this massive global audience, many of whom probably weren't wrestling fans at all.
Right.
It established him as this physical presence, an engaging, maybe theatrical personality outside his wrestling character. Made him a recognizable face, a known entity, even if you didn't follow WWF.
And that wasn't his only movie role, right? He
Yeah.
actually starred in his own film.
Indeed. He also starred in No Holds Barred in 1989, a film produced by the WWE itself, which further solidified his entertainment presence. Now, it wasn't exactly a critical masterpiece, but it was designed specifically as a Hogan vehicle, capitalizing on his wrestling fame, trying to translate that larger-than-life character directly to the big screen. These film appearances, especially that iconic Rocky III cameo, they effectively branded him as more than just an athlete. He was an entertainer with broad appeal, someone who could cross over from wrestling into Hollywood.
And then years later, long after his peak wrestling days, he jumped into reality TV, which offered a completely different view of him compared to his wrestling characters. What about Hogan Knows Best? How did that show change how people saw him?
Right, Hogan Knows Best premiered on VH1 in 2005, a big step into reality TV, which was just exploding then. And this show offered viewers a very different, supposedly unscripted look into his life. His family wife, Linda, kids, Brooke, and Nick.
Yeah, it was everywhere for a while.
It was. And it was fascinating how it blurred the lines between the character and the individual. It presented him as this somewhat overprotective, often kind of comical suburban dad, a huge contrast to the invincible Hulkamania persona.
Definitely different.
You got to look inside his Florida mansion, his attempts to manage his kids' careers, the everyday squabbles of this very unusual family.
So how did that contribute to his public persona? Did it humanize him?
I think it definitely did, in a way wrestling never really could. Viewers saw the perceived real Terry Bollea dealing with family stuff, teenage drama, parenting challenges. Now, sure, reality TV often exaggerates or scripts things for entertainment.
Of course.
But it still offered a more relatable domestic side to the icon. Showed vulnerabilities, a humorous side, brought Hogan into millions of homes that weren't necessarily watching wrestling, expanding his celebrity footprint, and it showcased his ability to adapt his public image across different mediums. Proved he was more than just a wrestler. He was an entertainer who could engage audiences in pretty much any format.
So what does his success across all these different areas, blockbuster movies, his own reality show, what does that tell us about the crossover potential for charismatic sports figures and just the changing landscape of celebrity in the 21st century?
Well, it tells us that charisma and a compelling persona are truly transferable assets.
Yeah.
Hogan knew how to leverage his existing fame and character to navigate these different worlds. His success shows that for some sports figures, their appeal goes way beyond just athletic skill.
Right.
It's fundamentally about their personality, their story, their innate ability to connect with an audience, even when the context shifts dramatically. Like in Rocky III, he kept that larger-than-life, slightly intimidating Hogan bravado, but on Hogan Knows Best, he adapted. Became this more grounded, maybe still exaggerated family man. Showed a different facet, but still kept that core Hogan brand.
Yeah, you still knew it was him.
Exactly. And in the evolving celebrity landscape, with reality TV, social media, those lines between performer and personal life are just increasingly blurred. Hogan was kind of an early adopter of this trend. He showed that being a character in one place could open doors to being a personality in others, and that the audience's appetite for authenticity, or at least the perception of it, was growing like crazy.
Interesting point.
That ability to continuously adapt, find new platforms, stay visible, it's a hallmark of enduring celebrity now. And Hogan really mastered it.
Of course, no deep dive into someone as prominent, as long-lasting as Hulk Hogan would be complete if we didn't also acknowledge the more challenging, controversial parts of his life. It's essential, I think, to address these things impartially. Understand that even titans cast shadows, and those become part of the legacy too.
That's a crucial point. And it's a necessary part of understanding his full impact. In 2015, Hogan faced a huge professional setback, a public crisis, when he was excluded from the WWE Hall of Fame for 3 years.
Right, I remember that well.
And the reason was the public revelation of racist remarks he'd made during a recording that then got widely circulated. The context was particularly damaging too. They emerged during that legal battle over the sex tape, specifically from a deposition in his lawsuit against Gawker.
Okay.
And in these private remarks, he used offensive racial slurs while talking about his daughter's relationship choices.
It was ugly stuff. How did Hogan himself respond to that? The backlash was immediate and intense.
He publicly addressed it, expressed deep remorse for the words, the pain they caused. He characterized the comments as a slip-up, said they weren't typical for him, argued they were made in a moment of emotional distress, didn't reflect his true character or beliefs. He issued multiple apologies, acknowledged how serious the language was, but WWE's reaction was swift and decisive. They immediately terminated his contract, removed him from all their programming, merchandise, the Hall of Fame. That really underscored how seriously they viewed those remarks, especially for a global company with a diverse audience.
Yeah, they had to act.
His eventual reinstatement to the Hall of Fame came years later, 2018, I think, after a period of public apology, staying pretty quiet and engaging with various organizations on diversity and inclusion issues.
Right.
This whole incident really raises that important question, doesn't it? How do fans, How do organizations navigate the complexity of admiring someone's professional achievements while grappling with their personal failings?
It's tough.
Very tough. It reveals this ongoing, often contentious dialogue about accountability for public figures now. It forced fans to confront that difficult reality. They're heroes, people they admired for strength, morality. They're fallible. They can hold views that are deeply problematic.
Yeah.
And for organizations like WWE, it highlighted that delicate balance, protecting the brand, upholding stated values of inclusivity versus dealing with the past actions of their most iconic figures, especially when those actions become public so damagingly.
It's a constant negotiation.
It really is. Between celebrating a legendary legacy and upholding contemporary social responsibilities, past actions can cast a long shadow, even over the most celebrated careers. And the public's view on forgiveness or redemption, it's rarely unified, often sparks heated debate.
It definitely reinforces that an icon's legacy isn't just triumphs. It's also how they and we deal with the controversies, even years later.
Exactly.
Moving into his later years, it's clear that even at 71, Hogan wasn't exactly slowing down or hiding. He stayed incredibly active, visible, still engaging with the industry, launching new things. What were his most recent endeavors, his public appearances, right up until he passed?
He certainly kept engaging, maintained a presence. His last significant WWE TV appearance was actually at the premiere of Raw on Netflix, early 2024.
Oh, right. Big moment for WWE.
Huge moment. New chapter, moving to a major streaming platform. And Hogan's presence there really underscored his enduring, almost like ancestral connection to the company. But what's fascinating here and telling is the complexity of the fan reaction.
What happened?
He was booed by the audience in Los Angeles during that appearance.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And it reveals this nuanced, often contradictory dynamic within the fan base, you know? Even after decades of influence, undeniable contributions, a career filled with adoration, a legend can still face boos.
Why do you think that was? Lingering controversy or something else?
Could be a mix of things. Maybe lingering resentment over the past controversies, those racist comments still resonate strongly with some fans. Or perhaps the segment of fans who prefer the newer generation see him as a relic. Or maybe it's both nostalgia colliding with evolving taste and social consciousness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just a stark reminder that fan bases aren't monolithic. Their allegiances, their opinions, they evolve. And sometimes that creates a challenging environment, even for the most beloved figures.
That's a powerful moment, isn't it? Almost symbolic of his complex public life. Still iconic, still showing up, but facing a mixed reception right at the end of his active appearances. And he was still an entrepreneur too, right? Even at 71, launching new businesses.
Absolutely. Even in his later years, Hogan kept that entrepreneurial spirit alive, actively launching new ventures right up until his passing. One notable project was Real American Beer,
Ah, yes, I saw
a
it.
specific venture, and notably, it was a sponsor of WWE, which showed his continued connection to wrestling, but now through a commercial lens, directly leveraging that iconic Real American persona from the Hulkamania days. Branding was unmistakable, red and yellow all over it. Beyond that, he was also launching Real American Freestyle, a new endeavor focused on youth wrestling. Its first event was planned for August 30th. So right up until he passed, he was looking forward, still innovating, still engaging, trying to build new things in the wrestling world and beyond. Shows incredible drive and enduring desire to be active, relevant, still shape the landscape he helped create.
So what does that tell us about how icons, even later in life, keep engaging with their legacy, personally, commercially? What motivates them to stay so active? And how do those public receptions, like the boos in LA, reflect that whole long, winding journey?
Well, it speaks to this intrinsic drive, I think, that many successful people have, especially those whose careers were built on public connection, performance. This deep-seated need to create, engage, maintain that connection that defined so much of their lives.
Right.
For Hogan, who built an empire on his personality, his charisma, staying active was probably just deeply ingrained, part of his identity. Commercially, yeah, it's about leveraging a brand that, despite controversies, still holds immense recognition, loyalty among certain groups globally.
Sure.
Personally, could be passion, a desire to keep contributing to the industry he helped build, or just the satisfaction of creating something new. And those public receptions, like the boos, they become this real-time reflection of the entire journey.
Yeah.
The enduring adulation for the triumphs, the lingering discomfort over the controversies, the constant evolution of public opinion. It shows that an icon's relationship with their audience is this living, breathing thing, always being reevaluated, even in their senior years, always being redefined by new actions and past histories.
As we wrap up this deep dive, it's important to acknowledge how the industry itself, the one he shaped so profoundly, responded to this huge loss. What was the WWE's official statement on Hogan's passing? What does it tell us about his place in their history?
The WWE, the company he basically helped build into a global giant, released an official statement. It was concise, but really captured his monumental impact on their respect. It read, and I quote, "As one of the most recognized figures in pop culture, Hogan helped WWE achieve global prominence in the 1980s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans."
Concise, like you said, but powerful, focusing on the pop culture reach and global prominence.
Exactly. It highlights his pivotal role in expanding their reach globally, emphasizes that pop culture status, not just, championships or specific matches. It acknowledges his unique ability to transcend wrestling, become a mainstream phenomenon, which was crucial for the company's growth in that transformative decade.
That feels like a very fitting tribute, acknowledging the broader cultural significance, the foundational role he played. So connecting this to the bigger picture then, how will Hogan's legacy ultimately be viewed, do you think, in the decades to come? It seems so complex, defies easy labels.
It certainly is complex.
Yeah.
And it's a complexity the sources themselves recognize. They describe him as one of the most dazzling and controversial personalities in wrestling. That duality is absolutely central to understanding his legacy.
Dazzling and controversial. Yeah, that sums it up.
He was without question a pioneer, a transformative force. Brought pro wrestling into the mainstream, created these indelible moments, characters that captivated millions. His Hulkamania era didn't just define a generation of wrestling fans, it defined an entire era of American pop culture. That optimism, those clear-cut heroes, and then the NWO reinvention. A bold, risky move proved his unparalleled ability to adapt, stay relevant, even redefine the very nature of wrestling presentation.
But then there's the other side.
Right. His legacy will also inevitably grapple with the controversies, particularly the racist remarks that led to that temporary split from WWE. Those elements add this layer of human fallibility to the larger-than-life character, forces a more nuanced perspective on his story.
Yeah.
But despite those complexities, the prediction seems clear and widely accepted. His influence on the business will certainly be honored decades later.
His impact is just undeniable.
Undeniable. And that enduring impact is also underscored by specific condolences, like from wrestling-infos.de, a big European wrestling news site. They said, "The team at wrestling-infos.de expresses its condolences and wishes the bereaved much strength in this difficult time." That kind of widespread industry mourning across continents, it's a powerful sign of just how deeply his presence was felt across the entire wrestling world.
Yeah.
He truly left an undeniable mark, both for the triumphs that pushed an industry forward and for the challenges that sparked important, difficult conversations.
So what does it really mean for one person to have such an immense, complex, enduring influence on an industry, on pop culture, an influence that has both adoration and controversy, triumph and acknowledged failings? It's a legacy that will keep being discussed, interpreted, right?
For sure. It never really settles.
We've taken a comprehensive deep dive today into the final moments of wrestling legend Hulk Hogan, the storied arc of his unprecedented career, and the undeniable complexities of his legacy. We looked at how the news broke so fast that sometimes uncomfortable public glimpse into his final moments through viral footage, the whole battle against misinformation around his health,
Right.
and then celebrated the titan he was in the ring and beyond, Hulkamania, the NWO. We also, I hope, thoughtfully addressed the shadows of controversy that are part of his story and his continued drive, his entrepreneurial stuff, even in his final years.
Covered a lot of ground.
We did. So what stands out to you, listening to all this, about the deep dive into Hulk Hogan's story? How does the life of such a public figure, full of incredible triumphs, profound controversies, how does it shape our understanding of celebrity, of legacy, of the narratives we build around our heroes?
It's a big question.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About how the story of an icon keeps being written, even after they're gone, through memories, discussions, evolving perspectives of everyone they influenced, constantly debated, constantly redefined. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.